Welcome to the Renewing the Mind podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Sanchez. Joined with me, my dad, Dr. Raul Sanchez. How you doing, Dad?
I'm feeling amazing. Like back in the day at NDSU, we had a saying, those who stay will play. Those who play will be champions. Once a champion, always a champion. There she is right there, baby.
And there is the ring kiss. Hey, on this podcast, we teach you how to renew your perspective, move towards uncertainty, and find what's awesome about that in every situation. And never forget it. There's 2 times to be great: when you feel like it and when you don't.
Amen.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and then ring that bell so you can get notified anytime we release content. If you're listening to the podcast, please leave us a review wherever you're listening to this on. That way we can hopefully climb the scale so more people can hear the content we are putting out. Before we get started, many of you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have our switcher here, which allows me very quick and easily to be able to do this. Bow. That's up close and personal. Dad, look at that camera.
Let's go.
And then with another flick of a button or flick of the wrist, we go to that one. And now I'm talking to you personally on the camera.
I feel left out.
And then you're out of the camera. And then we hit it again, and now we're back to the center frame where you can see both of us. So if you've been watching the last couple weeks, we had like 45 cables and everything going multiple ways and adapters and USB things, and that's all gone into this switcher box. So
we're getting there.
We're slowly getting there. So hopefully the audio and the video is working well. If not, please send us a comment and let us know if we need to update or change something. But
so that's a what moment.
That's a what? Oh man, I missed it. There it is. That's what's awesome about that. Think about maybe this week we'll put the first photo we took of when we tried to do the podcast in your office.
Yeah, that was terrible.
So going from that to this, and the setup we got now is...
You were running the camera and I was running the audio.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
It was not a great setup, but we're here.
3 hours and we actually recorded like 13 minutes and we're like, wait, we need more people.
So long story short, and the piece you need to do is to jump in and just start. One of the guys I follow, his name's Sean Cannell. He says, just push record. And that's what we've been doing for the last 3 years, is just pushing record.
3.5 years, yes.
And so you can apply that to any area of your life. Just do it, and you'll learn on the go. So today we're talking about leap into parents, this idea of kind of a system or format, a training on parents with ADHD kids, and how does that look? How does that work?
Yep.
And there is going to be 3 parts to this series. So this is part 1. So you're going to give us a little intro, then we're going to nail down part 1, get out of here in about a half hour. Yep. And then next week, part 2 of
Short and sweet.
part 3. So,
correct.
All right, let's go to you. Close up on you. Take us away. Leap into parenting.
Look at this sexy thing. No, just kidding.
Whoa. That got
all right. So we're going to focus on like why we need parental training. And then like how, like I get why we need it. How do I do it? And the last thing is like, what do I actually do? Because my kids are different, or my kids aren't like your kids, or my kids are all different independently, etc. So why, how, what? So, this study was published in the Journal of Attention Disorders in 2023. So it's just fresh, brand new. And it's a parent management training system for ADHD kids. And it's pretty cool because they started right prior to COVID, and they took 56 participants aged 5 to 10 years old, and so with their parents or guardians, and then they did in-person training, which is an 8-week course called L.E.A.P, so Lifestyle Enhancement for ADHD Program, okay? And they studied before and after the group physical activity, before and after group sleep, before and after the group screen time. Now, the crazy thing is COVID hit, and so it was a really cool idea. So then they did telehealth, and they did the exact same thing. And so 2 separate control groups, and they focused on the exact same system. This time it was all telehealth. And what they found is there's 0 change in the physical activity in either group. So whether you're meeting, your parents are meeting with the psychologist team and you're going once a week for 8 weeks and you're in an office, or you're telehealth and me and Stacy are watching some psychologist on the screen and we're taking notes, there was 0 change on physical activity. And that just tells you how difficult it is to get your kids to move, okay? So if you're like, man, I really need this. My kids, you don't understand. They're like the definition of a couch potato, like their pictures on the bag of potato chips. Like, I get it. And science gets it too, because in all their efforts, they had zero movement on the physical activity. Now, the cool thing is on sleep moved the most, whether it was a physical activity group, whether it was an in-person training group, or whether it was the online or telehealth group. Okay. So just hearing information about what to do in parenting for sleep, that moved the needle the most. And at the exit interview, parents said that was the number one thing that they felt had the most impact on home. Listen to that. A parent report for kids who learned how to sleep and a sleep hygiene program. That'll be our next week podcast. That's the number one most influential impact. Parents said that helped their family the best. Okay. So never get it twisted. Changing a behavioral issue for your kids heals the whole family, and vice versa. Changing a behavioral issue for your parents heals the family. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think just real quick, I think that's like a no-brainer. Like, I'm worse in all areas of my life when I lack sleep.
Yes. Correct.
I mean, it's not just,
yes,
I'm more grouchy, I'm more irritable, I'm a worse teacher, parent,
yes,
pastor. I mean, that's just a quick.
Yeah. And think about, so the kids are 5 to 10. So that's like right in between Eliza and Stella. So if that child's not sleeping, you're not sleeping.
Yeah.
And then, but like us, we poke each other, like, it's your turn. And she'd be like, no, I did it last night. I'm like, I got to work. And she's like, I got to teach, and then you're back to that thing. So correct. And then the other piece, oh, go ahead.
No, go.
Okay. So the other piece, screen time, whether you're in-person training with psychologist team or your online telehealth, the needle was moved on screen time. So that's another one. So that'll be week 3. Okay. So let's go back to the first question. So I just wanted to give you a highlight of the study, why this study grabbed my attention, and why I'm teaching to you, because the second thing you might say is, well, this is cool, but I don't think my kids have ADHD. No one's been tested. Teachers don't say anything. Coaches never come up to me. That's okay. Because the number one reason I think why parental training is great for all school agers is poor parental supervision. That kind of means like your kids are being crazy over here and you're not paying attention to them. That could be it. But also, like, you just don't really monitor them very well. And so kids get injured a lot, or you're just like kind of a parent that just says, they'll figure it out. There's research to say that those kids who are more experimental, who take risks, they're more impulsive, they get triggered really quickly, whether they have ADHD or they don't. For this argument, let's just say they don't have it. If they got tested, they wouldn't come out positive on ADHD. But because they're more impulsive and they have less parent supervision, they're more likely to get tested for ADHD. And therefore, once a kid gets tested, there's a lot of people on that side, on teaching, education, coaching. As soon as they know your kid sees a psychologist, or as soon as they know your kid is tested, they think, oh, you're just the anti-medication parent. So then they push harder on those kids. So I work really hard to help families not get a diagnosis as much as we can for that reason, just the stigma side of it. So why parental training is good for you, for all of us, is because poor parental supervision means your child is more likely to get pegged as a disciplinary action kid, or a kid that needs to be tested for ADHD. So that's why. Okay. So that's the why piece of it. The second piece I want to say about this why piece is the old school parent training. And like, when I think about me, when I do parent training, it typically is parent training on words, like, hey, here's the words to say, here's words not to say. Here's the effective consequences. Here's how you reward and punish kids. And then the last one is like on limit setting or boundaries. And that all works, but in the research, that doesn't hold water to kids who are physically active. And here's why. The parent who has inactive kids, we're not using their brain chemistry for them. We're using it against them. So think about you. Like, if you've had a rainy day and you're inside for 3 or 4 days, or if those of you who are from Iowa, you get those freezing cold temperatures, like below zero, like you're in the house for 3 days. Like, we talk about this as a family. We start playing. We blow up a balloon and play volleyball in the
keep you uppy.
Keep you uppy. And we play weird games because we try to get our kids as active as possible. During COVID, we bought a ping pong table thing just to put on our kitchen or our dining room table. It's like, you can't do too much without saying, hey man, we got to get up and get moving. Now, if you're a family and your kids are like that, even though they don't prefer activity, they demand it behaviorally, brain chemistry wise. So their neurochemistry needs the move. And so what we're trying to do, and this is what I'm trying to help you do, I was thinking about a word today and it popped in my head, because when we talk about parent training, we talk about parent health benefits. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking at, or positive health benefits. So like, these are what we talk about, but I want you to move differently. I want to think differently. And so I was just playing with words, but the thing popped in my head is called CBB, which is cell building behavior. Okay. I want to push you to cell building behavior. And here's why. The study's a great study. They did great stuff. We found out great stuff. This is why I like to study this stuff. But there's a hole. And the hole is nothing they did moved the needle on parent, on parent training. None of the parent training moved the needle on physical activity of the kids. So no matter if you were a 1 on parent training, like, man, I barely did whatever, or if you were a 10, you're like, we took notes, we did everything they told us to do. They all still said, hey, I can't get my kid to move. So now we had to think about it differently. Forget the behavioral words, forget the nicey nice, like I didn't say the right thing, or I don't know if I'm saying the right thing. Forget about that. I want you to focus on, like, let's just move the needle on brain training. Let's move the needle on cell building behavior. What's the best way to build cells in a kid? It's absolutely movement. Okay, so that's what I want you to think about. So let's focus on, now let's move to the how. Okay.
Okay.
So how do we get a kid to engage? And the number one thing I talked about a little bit, if you go back to one of our podcasts on like the brain hack for depression, the brain hack for anxiety, and it's the cerebellum. That's the thing that manages movement, motor coordination. It actually is speech and language acquisition. It's actually a spatial recognition for like what places things come into your brain. So like first, second, third. It actually helps with your eye movement, its balance and posture. It's the kinesiology piece of like motor coordination. It's like people who can do like dance moves, stuff like that, versus if you can't. So how to engage more physically, I want you to think about this. There's a neurochemical product called BDNF. So like Bob, Dog, Nancy, Fred, BDNF. And it's called brain-derived neurotropic factor. It's literally miracle grow for the brain. It's literally fertilizer on the grass, okay? Literally. And so the number one way you can help your kids learn, okay, anything, like how to juggle, learn how to say a couple Spanish words, learn how to flip an omelet, anything, is you teach them the skill, and then immediately after you do physical activity. The physical activity immediately after learning helps sprinkle the BDNF, and they keep a lot more information of what you just gave them. On average, if you teach something, kids hold 20%, adults hold 20%. That's why cramming never works. Right, Ty?
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. I'm a procrastinator too. The other day, everybody was laughing because I've been writing for an article.
Cramming works to like within, if you're going to cram and then test,
but small windows.
Yeah, for a small window. But you asked me like a week later or a day later or that afternoon.
Not happening.
I don't think I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't work. Okay. So here's an example I want to give you. And Tyler remembers this because at the University of Iowa, as a graduate student, one of my fellow students, she had a child. Actually, he was the exact same age as Tyler, maybe a year older than you. And he was having, and she found out I had dyslexia. So she was asking me all kinds of questions. And then she actually decided to pay me because she was paying a tutor that wasn't working. So she paid me what she was paying this person. And, it was really fun. And so I got to kind of develop a program. And so knowing what I knew, we brought the kid to our house, and I was already working with Tyler this way, and I kind of teach myself this way. But the first thing we did is we sit down and we read for 10 minutes, or a reading activity. So some of it was like word attack skills. Some of it was sight words. There's a bunch of different activities that we did, and we put them in game types, or like we gamified it before gamification was out. I was already doing that. So we gamified it. We did 10 minutes of reading activity. Then we did 5 minutes of a physical activity. So we started out by juggling, for example. And then we go back and sit down and we do 15 minutes of reading. And then we do 10 minutes of another physical activity. And Tyler was into yo-yos, so we did some yo-yos with this kid. And then the last thing is we did 20 minutes of reading. That's actual reading, no more reading activities. Now it's reading, 20 minutes of reading. And then we follow that up with 30-minute large motor skills with hand-eye coordination. So we did roller hockey because Tyler was into roller hockey. This kid was into learning about it, so we picked up roller hockey. Now, he was in special ed for 2 years, and he wasn't moving. And so that's why the parent came to me. So we did this for one semester, the majority of a semester. It's fall in the winter, or fall in Iowa, so we couldn't play all the way up to November or whatever. But at midterms, he had grown 2.5 years in grade level reading. So he jumped 2.5 grade levels in his reading. He graduated out of special education, and everybody wanted the program that I did. So I started coaching some more kids. And here's the idea. It worked better than anything else they were trying. And the reason is we used his brain for him, not against him. So if you think about traditional sitting down and reading, especially kids with a reading disability, he had a reading disability, or kids who have dyslexia, or kids who have ADHD. They have trouble sitting still, B, you're trying to get them to do their weakest link. So just stop and think for a moment. Okay, Ty, if I said to you, what's one of your greatest strengths, that pops off in your head, right?
Yeah.
And then think about what's one of your biggest weaknesses. And let's pretend I say to you, okay, reading. Let's say I ask Alicia. Alicia's sitting here. What Alicia would say?
Probably organization.
Okay. I was just going to say, Stacy would probably say organization because I got stacks of paper everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So like we all kind of have an idea what our weakness is. What if a coach came in and said, I'm only going to help you do your weakness, and we're going to spend 30 minutes a day doing it?
Yeah, I'd hate it.
And then we sit kids down and we're like, hey, this is going to be so fun. You're going to really love this. And at the end, you'll get a sticker and then 30 minutes of pain.
Well, and that's why there's a whole movement that's like, don't focus on your weakness, just focus on your strengths, because people want to avoid the things that we're not good at and then excel in the things that we already kind of are gifted in.
Yes.
And that doesn't make a well-rounded person.
Yeah.
I mean, you're creating kids that are just top heavy on certain areas that they're so quote unquote gifted in or talented in.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Elon Musk, and then there's research and some articles and stuff written about him and his poor family relationships, like with his dad, with his son, his other child. Like he struggles. But if you're putting in 100 hours a week at work, you're going to struggle, right?
Yeah.
But nobody is trying to follow him for his parenting tactics. Right. So we all follow him because of his strengths. Right. So I just want you to kind of just grab that idea. And like the whole idea is we take a limit and we do it for a small amount of time. Then we take a strength and we do it for a small amount of time. And then we recycle that for basically an hour. And then that last 30 minutes is a reward time of physical activity. And the kid thinks it's a reward. But what I'm really doing is I'm just like, hey, hold still a second. Let me fertilize all the areas we just worked on. Let's just make this thing solidified. Does this make sense?
Yeah. So what do we do for the parents then? Like how, obviously you did that as someone that was hired to help, but like how do I do that with a first grader or a fourth grader, or a ninth grader?
Yes.
How practically put that into what parents should do this summer?
Yeah, correct. So we talked about this today at lunch with Stacy, my wife, and we started just talking about like, how does that look if we put that together in a parent training? So one thing we want to do is we want to put up an email for you, and Stacy can put that in the chat. Have Stacy type in the email.
I can do it.
It's Coach Ches.
What is it?
Coach Ches.
At what?
At gmail.com.
Okay. It's in the comments for you.
Okay. Or wait. I was gonna say I have to grab my pen to make sure.
Is that not it?
It might be. I might be off.
Right. Mom, text me the email I'm supposed to put in there.
Yeah.
All right. When she texts me, I'll put it in.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So we'll put together.
Mom said that's not the email.
As I was just thinking about it, I'm like, wait, that doesn't sound right.
Okay, we'll delete that.
Okay. So it's Coach Ches at
something.
It's not. No.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah.
I'll get the email in. Tell them what they're supposed to do with the email.
All right, we'll figure that out. So, okay, we'll put an email in there. Here's what I want you to do. If you have any idea at all, like, okay, if you're going to put together basically a reading program, parent training on reading, and then we'll adapt it to math, or we'll adapt it to any kind of like memory game or study. And there's a lot of adaptations that we can do, because I didn't just do reading. I'm just kind of more of an expert in reading because that was my thing. So just put your email in here. So send us the email, send your email to us, and then we're going to create a list. And literally, I'm going to probably create 3 programs based off this talk, because as I think about this, I really feel pulled to like help and jump in. Of course, there'll be a cost to it, but we're going to keep it low cost because we want a lot of families to jump in. And what's really cool is let's say your kid does have reading issues, and once you start to help your child with reading and you start to see them really engage and learn, we're going to adapt that same exact learning strategy to like doing anything, like tying his shoes. So we try to tie shoes for a while, and then we play a hand and eye coordination game, or we try to tie shoes for a while. Then we also play a game of Uno. Then we come back and we tie shoes for a while, and then we finish with a fun game, because it puts in BDNF with the learning, so they don't get frustrated. And the last thing they remember is like scoring a goal or jumping rope or whatever they're going to do. So we're going to put that together. So it's a great question. Stacy had the same question.
All right. It's on the screen now. If you're watching on YouTube, it's coaching at drraulsanchez.com. we couldn't have been further from what you suggest.
Okay, here's the deal. I do have a couple emails, but there is a Coach Ches.
Talk about weakness, organization, admin skills.
No, I have a Coach Ches one too, but that's for something else. As I was saying it to you, I'm like, no, that's not the right email we use. So
No,
you
here's hold on.
you always pick on me.
Look into the camera.
You always pick on me for emails.
No, here's the honest truth. This man has 45 different emails with like the 2-letter variation. Coach Ches 24 at Gmail, coach at gmail24.com, coaches at Ches Nugget 2495.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there is a method to that madness, but sometimes I gotta.
Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, it's on the screen right there. Coaching at drraulsanchez.com. If you're listening, write that down. Coaching at drraulsanchez.com.
I had the first word right.
We got coaching in that's in Ches in there.
Yeah, Coach Ches or whatever.
Okay.
So that'll help you because we're going to put that together and
so that'll be a teaching that we can kind of walk through on a personal level.
Yes, and it might just be a program you can download, and there might be another program where I'll get on once a week and coach you, so you can coach your parent through my coaching. So that's going to be help. So and we can have all kinds of ideas with that. Okay, so the last piece then is what? Okay, so I understand why. Okay, because my kid doesn't want to get selected or picked out or plucked. The second thing is how, because we want to do a hard work paired with easy work, and then paired at the end with exercise, right? Because we want to drip BDNF on top of the brain training. And the last thing is what? What do we do? And the number one issue is this: the physical activity doesn't matter if it's fun. Okay, the physical activity doesn't matter if it's fun. Do you know? I could literally tell stories about the dumbest things kids do for fun. I know kids who rake and they don't have to get paid because they think it's the greatest thing in the world. I'm like, wait, how'd you get your kids to rake? But I just handed them a rake one day, and that dude piles up the whole entire backyard.
What do you mean by rake?
Rake leaves. Sorry, we're in Iowa.
Rake leaves?
Yes. So like, can you imagine Stella coming home and be like, Dad, all the leaves fell. I get to rake. I get to rake.
No.
Right. So I'm going like, wait, time out. How did you get your kid to do this? And they go, I was just raking, and my kid just said, Dad, you got to rake. And so I handed him mine, and I went and got a broom, and I just saw this dude go to town. And I'm like, wait, do you pay him? Bonus game time, screen time? I'm like, so what's the payoff? Like, he just likes to jump in him in the end and then pile him back up. So let me tell you this again, right? How do I get my kid to exercise? How do I get my kid to engage in physical activity? And the idea is it's got to be fun, because if it's fun, there's zero pain in the brain. Now, raking, he probably gets blisters. Raking, he wakes up sore on his back, but he's like, Dad, did you see that epic flip in the leaves? And come every fall, you've seen all these like videos where kids are just jumping in and messing around and farting around with their dogs. You know, like, that's just what happens, right? So I want you to think about this. So let's jump through a few of these things. Again, I'm gonna put them in 3 groups. So primary kids. So these would be like ELIZA. So this is like, preschool through 2nd grade. Okay.
Yep.
So the primary kids, I think about this a lot. Like which in my office, what kids like to do. The top one, they're called animal walks. And we do it with the girls. And the animal walk is like, okay, we're going to walk like a frog. And they're going to be like, frogs don't walk, silly, they hop. Oh, really? How? Show me. And they start to show you. And then as a parent, you can't just watch them. You got to do it also, because it's work if a kid does it over and over, but it's just play if you do it with them. So now you can do leapfrog, but kids probably won't be able to get over top of you, but you can leap over pillows or something. You can go in the grass and hop around like frogs,
Yep. Okay.
Okay. You can bear crawl, you can crab walk, you can kangaroo jump. And then that can move to like silly things like, hey, you have to jump on the cement, but you can't stand in the crack. And so in the study, they gave kids Garmins. And what's really crazy is there was zero movement on the Garmin. So what you could try to do is you could put a Garmin on yourself, or a smartwatch, or if you have an Apple, or if you can afford it, get a kid a Fitbit, just a cheap one. And then so every day you kind of come in and you just print that out and look at them. Kids are visual. So if you just create a cheesy chart and you just say, okay, here's your movement today. Okay, then every other day, let's say. Then Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of a deal. Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, it doesn't matter. And then you keep going. It's like, okay, let's see if you can beat your movement. And if a kid can beat movement, there's all these mood enhancing, benefits to that too. So that's my idea for that. And at the younger ages, keep it individual, because kids get really hurt as soon as they see somebody else do something and they can't do it. At an older age, if you can't do something, it usually challenges you, and you're like, man, I got more work to do.
Yeah, motivates you.
Yes, but when you're young, it doesn't work. So don't do that.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the handful of ideas, and you can branch from there. The school agers, those kids are 3rd grade through 5th grade. Stella's what, first?
Yep.
So she falls right in between there, but we would put Stella in the school agers group. So let's say then 2nd grade to age or to grade 5. It depends on the skill development of a kid, but Stella could handle it. So here, this group is skill development. Okay, so pick a skill like jump rope. Okay, and you want to try to hammer jump ropes. So let's say your kid can't jump rope. So you get 2 jump ropes and make them a little bit more of the heavy one, tie them up, make it kind of up to her armpit, like look at some YouTube videos on how to do it. And then you just start jumping. And then so like you count out loud, and then you get a chart. You just put a chart up on the wall and you're like, okay, your first attempt, Stella jumped 7 in a row before she hit her toe. So she put 7. And then I go and let's say I get 10. And then so I put a 10. And you just keep jumping. And again, the same thing. You do like 5 minutes. And then you can play a different game and try it again, and come back and do a different game. The idea isn't to make her feel bad. The idea is to help her have fun in the trials, okay? So now anything you can think about is skill development in there. So riding a bike, juggling. So some of the girls this summer will be pitching. The guys will be pitching. So like throwing balls.
Kick a soccer ball. Eliza, they're in soccer season right now.
Oh, yes, correct.
Soccer.
Yep. So
the idea is not to say, I don't have a jump rope. The idea is to say, what fits with your kid.
Yes, correct. Whatever your kid's in. So,
whatever your kid is into.
Right. So let's talk about soccer, right? So what's cool is you could just set up cones, and then you put the balls on the cones, and then she just runs up and kicks from the cone and tries to make it in the goal.
Yeah.
Nobody's blocking because we're just working on skill development.
Yep.
And if she can hit it at this distance, we're going to back it up a little bit, right?
Yep.
And then again, at the end, you always finish with a fun game. So like at something like that, you'd head over to the park, and then you'd just play swings or play tag on the...
Something they enjoy. You
always finish with something fun, okay? So that's skill building stuff, and that could be biking, hiking, whatever the kid wants to develop. I think biking is undefeated. So anytime you can learn biking for kids, it's undefeated because it's the cross-lateral part of the brain. So it's bilateral, so they both sides of the brain develop. Okay, the last group would be the middle schoolers. I think high schoolers already have summer camps and they've already in sports, so they're already doing things. So I'm not going to talk about them really. So the middle school kids, this is both individual work and group work. So if they already play soccer and they're in middle school, we want to sign them up for camps because they can handle the group work, but also then circle back home and work on an individual idea. Okay. And that would be the same thing, one of the sports or something like that. And it could be something so simple as like how to cook a good steak or how to flip an omelet. It could also be like how to drive. If your kids, even if they're preteen young, we take Valencia. She's 13 now, but we started when she was 12, just driving in a parking lot because it's a skill she wants to develop. And you know, she'll tell Tavian, I could drive now, but she only drove in the parking lot, right?
Yeah, they literally got in a fight about it maybe an hour and a half ago. Downstairs in the kitchen.
Yeah, already, because she's like, I do too.
She's like, I know how to drive, and he's like, you did a circle in the parking lot. She's like, I know how to drive,
and he's like, do you even work the pedals?
Yeah.
So any of the skill development, that's the whole part.
I think when you get to that Stella in that grade school and middle school, I think there's such a buy-in if you can get them to pick too.
Yes.
Like, hey, we're going to do some activity. What would be fun? Get them involved in it. Once they pick it, they have a buy-in.
Yes.
To think that this is something that they had to do. And you can kind of, as a parent, lean them one way or the other.
Yes, correct. Correct. And sitting down and just looking at pictures, there's no motivation. So you got to kind of get them outside and then start thinking about things like go to a park and you see people fishing, you see people hiking, you see people on one of those little paddle things where they're paddling on the water or maybe a stand-up paddleboard, whatever it is. Just jump in somewhere and then build from there. So on that age group, even like rock climbing, exploring, hiking, all that stuff is pretty cool. So those are those pieces. Okay, the last piece that I want to talk about is like the brain side of that, of like what would this do if you did it? Like what would the kid gain overall? So dopamine is the reward drug. Okay, and if you take a kid at any level and you set a goal, and then you go get the goal. Okay, we want to make it hard, but not too hard. So I want you to think of baby steps. So just think of a kid climbing a tree. Like, hey, do you think you can climb that tree? And the kid says, yeah, of course. Okay, if you can get to that first arm right there, then I owe you 5 push-ups. And they'll get so jacked and they go get it. The second they get it, they start yelling and screaming and they want you to do push-ups. And then you drop down and immediately do the push-ups. What you just did is you started dopamine, which is an anticipatory action that a reward's coming. Then they got the reward. Then they see you pay for that, and they start just giggling and they're just going nuts. So that whole cycle keeps them thinking, I can do it. So start it small and then just keep growing. So anytime they set a goal and go get it, and then you have to pay a reward, that's a dopamine system. Now, dopamine is motivation, which means I'm 10% more likely to do something like that again. And that's why we got to keep kids jumping, because kids will see some dude like flip skateboards, do tricks on YouTube, and then they come out and they try one thing and they suck at it. So then they put the skateboard away and they're done for life. That's because they're here and they're trying to go 21 steps ahead. We want to do baby steps for them. Okay? So that's dopamine. Now, serotonin is a neurochemical that helps you boost mood. So serotonin is what they call the happy neurotransmitter. So this keeps you happy. So one of the number one things you can do for all the kids that we talked about here is go on a nature hunt, go on a scavenger hunt. And you could just Google a bunch of things to find in the forest, depending on how old your kid is. And you could go try all kinds of things. I know a buddy who, him and his son, they go to ponds, and the number one thing is they search for species of frogs. That's pretty deep, right? So you've got to have an idea of what kind of frogs you're looking at. But you could go species of leaves, species of birds, species of mushrooms. Just don't eat everything. You can do all kinds of things. I know our kids or grandkids, they're into rocks right now. So just finding all kinds of just
every time we leave Culver's, we stand in the parking lot for an hour and pick up stupid rocks.
Find a bunch of rocks.
Yeah, and then you convince them that they have to take them home. So then we have to discard a rock, and they all use them.
I'm a pappy. So if I tell them to name a rock, is that so bad?
Yeah, because then Milana literally will hold it all the way until she goes to bed and screams bloody murder when we take it away from them.
That's my like passive aggressive. Like jab.
Yeah, and you do it on purpose. So I have to deal with it the whole way home.
Yeah.
You made me throw the rock away.
Yeah.
All right, what else?
But Liza, she's funny with it too. You could do I Spy in the woods too. Just kind of walk around and play I Spy.
I just know Stella and Eliza, I mean, even on a walk around the block or just around our neighborhood, they'll come home with 13 different leaves and a tree branch and a piece of bark. And I mean, just getting them, in a different environment, they'll figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
They'll say, well, let's do this or let's do that. I mean, just getting them out of the house, their creativity already starts to fire.
Yeah. And this is what people are always trying to reinvent so many things. But I have the hardest time getting people who are sad or depressed, stuck, to take a walk. And they're like, I'm already in therapy and I'm already on medicine. I mean, I'm like, but this is another prong.
It just feels so unimportant, or it feels so
basic.
Yeah, like not even an effective. Like if I'm going to do something, I might as well go run rather than just walk. Anyone can walk around the block.
Yeah. Okay. So this is
seems like kind of all or nothing type scenario.
So you know how long I've been talking about green therapy, right? Walking with trees, walking where there's leaves. Go sit with the back up on a tree. Put your feet in the dirt and ground. In Japan, they call it forest bathing because they find people in a swimming suit just doing like snow angels in the grass.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
Well, I bet you that dude skips all the way home.
Yeah, no way. We should ask Terrence when he was in Japan if he saw forest bathing.
Terrence pulls up his pants and walks everywhere barefoot, like he's trying.
Yeah.
So all of that's all the mood stuff. That's serotonin. That's the happy drug. Okay, so the oxytocin is the love feeling. The I'm accepted. I'm not invisible. Somebody loves me. That one is really cool because this is a team building thing. So you could literally do a family chore. So again, we talked about raking leaves. For whatever reason, Valencia loves to come out and help us in the grass. I think it's because she knows you helped in the grass, Tavian, Terrence. So she's next in line. And her big thing was like, when do the boys start mowing? And I told her, at 10. So of course she wanted to start mowing at 9, right? And then she's like, when can I use the weed whacker? Like, Dad, when can I use the edger and stuff like that? So she engages in that family chore, and Stacey's out helping pull weeds or whatever. It becomes a family chore, right? And then after that, Valencia will be like, what's for dessert? So then we'll make cookies. We'll do something just to help put some, again, BDNF on the top of that. So physical activity, something that's some love or something that's some joy. It doesn't have to always be food, but sometimes it could be a board game or something like that. But so how you engage that loving feeling is you could take a walk with a pet, get to a nice, green area, sit down and just pet. As you pet your dog, there's that bonding chemical called oxytocin. There's also serotonin, which is the happy drug again, just by petting. So for the oxytocin side, the bonding side, we want to work together as a team, and then we want to also attack a chore together as a family. And that could be washing the cars. Think of something that's fun as families. A lot of times, Stacy's kind of doing a thing now where she wants to get so many steps a day. So sometimes she'll say, "Who wants to go on a walk with me to get my steps in?"
Yeah.
So that could be a family chore.
Well, just a couple weeks ago, we just took the van to the car wash, the one where you drive through and then have the free vacuums. And so I let them all vacuum out their own seat and tricked them into cleaning the van and getting all the trash out. But they loved it. They asked us the other day if we could go do that again. So
hey, this hose looks like an octopus. Look at it. It's really fun.
Yeah. They thought it was cool to be able to, because they just run, from up over the top, and so they all cleaned out. And then they're fighting over who got to vacuum more and who got to do which rugs. But it was fun. That a group activity, a chore, a task.
Yes.
Try to make it kind of fun as possible.
Yeah, and if you're thinking, well, wait a minute, vacuuming isn't really a physical activity. I get it. You're still burning a little bit of calories, but these few that I mentioned, the last 4 activities, right? We're using these to boost the neurochemistry that helps attachment and helps bonding. So as you build your relationship, they're more likely to take a hike with you. Okay. Then the last one is the endorphins, and this is the no pain feeling. This is like. After you eat jalapenos or after you finish your workout, the endorphins hit and you feel that sense of joy. I always feel like I have a sense of urgency. So like, man, I could just run through a wall, or, I could just run a 10K right now. That's kind of feeling I have. So one of them, it's kind of funny. What's that dance? Is it Dance Revolution? That's the name that popped in my head. The old school dance thing.
Yeah, the video game.
The video game
on the screen. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So
there's a bunch of them, but that's the main one.
One of the number one things you can do for endorphins is dance. So all y'all dancers,
count me out.
So that's why it popped in my head, like dancing for the sake of dancing. I only do that with mom, and we only do that with we go to a salsa merengue party. It's kind
When's the last time y'all done that?
In Iowa City. But we did we did it there because there's large group instruction and it's just kind of fun.
But I mean, even just when we just throw on random music and just have the girls dance and jump around.
Yes.
It's not like you have to go to like an actual dance studio or dance hall.
Yeah, and Valencia has some videos that we try to mimic. You try to copy it.
Yeah.
And, I really do think if I had a double mirror with my dyslexia, if I look at the mirror backwards, I could probably do better than watching the screen.
I just think that dancing is probably not your thing you're gifted
Stacey will be like, you're using your wrong leg. And I really feel like I'm on it.
No.
So dance party is one. And then another one, the last one would be like a stretch party. So I'm not talking about yoga. I'm talking just literally stretch. So like think about calisthenics before you go on a run. Just everybody sit down and stretch, and the kids will copy you. Okay. So what happens is you feel no pain once you push through it. So then when you get up and you kind of look back, you feel a lot better. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So like set a goal, go get it. Number 1, a nature hike, a nature scavenger hunt. Number 2, family chore together, family group activity chore wise together. And the last one is a dance party or stretching. Those are activities that would bind you together with whoever's doing it with you. Got it?
Okay. That's it. That's part 1. That wraps up Leap into Parenting.
Yes.
Hopefully that was a help to anyone with kids with ADHD. Also, I mean, that's just a good thing to apply to any kid any family, regardless of ADHD, that you can't, even if your kid's not struggling with some of those things, you can't go wrong throwing some fertilizer on the brain and teaching them having a productive summer to be able to increase their brain power and creativity and thought process and
for the sake of
mental health. And
for the sake of research, they have to identify like a family or culture. So like anxiety or depression or learning disability or ADHD. But for us, it helps everybody because those activities they're doing sharpens all of us.
Yeah, nonstop.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, don't forget it. On this podcast, we teach you how to renew your perspective, move towards uncertainty, and find what's awesome about that in every situation. And never forget it. There's 2 times to be great: when you feel like it and when you don't. We love you.
Sir.
Peace out.
Peace.